here's the unpopular truth nobody wants to admit about DIFC. While a very prestigious and very desirable area for short-term stayers, bankers, consultants, venture capitalists, it might not be the best investment for most of you. But for some others, it could be a very strategic play. It's double-faced. What I'm about to show you might go against everything that you've been told about DIFC. Most people think DIFC is overpriced, overhyped, and past its peak. But here's the thing, while everyone's chasing that next shiny off-plan in the middle of nowhere, serious investors are doubling down right in DIFC. However, I'm not saying you should drop everything and focus on this one area. On the contrary, the key is to know what works and what doesn't work in the DIFC. Only then decide whether this area is right or wrong for you. This isn't just my opinion. It's backed by data from DLD, from DXB Interact, and what I see daily advising my clients on the ground. In this video, I'm breaking down whether DIFC is still the smartest place to invest in Dubai, or if it's become a high-priced trap. Let's get into it. Between February and July 2025, DIFC had one of the strongest price runs in the whole of Dubai. According to DLD data, price per square foot was ranging from 1,500 dirhams up to 7,100 dirhams, depending on building and unit type. Median price, however, was at around 3,864 dirhams per square foot, and the median one-bedroom price was at around 3.24 million dirhams. What's interesting is that the transaction volume was plus 136% year on year. But even more interesting is that the price per square foot also doubled, showing plus 102% year on year. So we can see that this area is quite a good one perhaps for capital appreciation. But let's dig into more examples. The three top moving towers is the Index Tower, where the resale hit 5.25 million for a resale of a two-bedroom with 60% year-on-year gain, while the second one, DIFC Heights, was commanding around 4,800 dirhams per square foot. And finally, Central Park also was seeing quite a few resales and peaking at around 5.2 million dirhams for a two-bed. As we can see, the DIFC is no longer just a luxury lifestyle area. It's acting like a Swiss bank vault for regional capital. And most importantly, when markets get uncertain, zones like this hold value. Now, if we speak about the rental market, it's pretty solid, but conservative. If we look at DXB Interact data for the rentals from August to October 2025, meaning the last 3 months, studio rentals are ranging in between 85,000 dirhams to 105,000 dirhams. That's mainly in Sky Gardens and Liberty House. One beds are pretty high up at 130,000 to 185,000 dirhams. Index, Central Park, Burj Daman, these were the towers recording the most, and two beds bumping up to around 310,000 in Index, Limestone, and Central Park accordingly. So while I already mentioned that the increase in the value of those resales was quite high at even more than double, the yields on the contrary mostly grossed at around 3.5% to 4.8%. If bought in the right ways and also in the right older towers, such as the Park Towers, then your yield will bump up a little at around 5.5% up to 6.5%. So we can see that this is not an area for rental yield. It's an asset zone. If you're expecting to print 9% ROI in DIFC, I'm sorry, I don't think that will be possible. But if you want your capital to sleep well at night and perhaps wake up stronger, meaning some good capital appreciation, this is your zone. Now, here's the thing. If you're considering a DIFC investment and don't want to overpay or get sold a dead unit, then you should work with experts. My go-to brokerage in high-end resales, such as in DIFC, is Silver Springs properties. These guys don't just sell. They run the due diligence like actual analysts, whether that's index tower, Burj Damam, or rare off-plan inventory, which might be quite interesting, especially in the DIFC where it's quite impossible to get it. They'll guide you to the right deal, not just the next launch, and get your EOI for that. I've dropped their contacts in the description below. Make sure to check them out if you're serious about entering DIFC properly. So who should actually buy in DIFC right now? If you're a value investor looking at high-yield Airbnb properties, then this probably is not your area. DIFC is best suited for ultra-high net worth buyers looking for capital preservation and prestige. Long-term holders who really want to preserve their capital in such a good area. A top-tier zone that won't really go out of fashion. Institutional level or corporate landlords renting to lawyers, bankers, and consultants and simply wanting stability for a very long term, or eventually the owners who actually plan to live in there, especially those who work around the area, those in finance or legal industries. This area is not ideal for hungry, high ROI yield chasers. Budget buyers on mortgage stretch definitely don't get into this area. And of course, the Airbnb focused investors, I don't personally see this working well for you because the rental is pretty high. If we speak about Airbnb arbitrage, if you want to just get a unit and pay the annual rent and then do Airbnb with that, it probably will really eat up all your margins. And if you want to buy that property, well, I'm not sure the yields for the Airbnb will actually stack up properly for you. The DIFC isn't where you really buy cash flow for high yields. It's where you preserve the wealth and exit when the time is right. Also, if you want my reports on these areas and perhaps want to go one-on-one with me on a call through all of this in details, then book your slot via the link in the description and let's get on a call and discuss everything on your strategy right now. Let's go over some of the current projects that still make sense. Index Tower is still the top choice for prestige and long-term resale value. Rents are stable and the resale is very strong. Not only the resales are preferred for flipping buyers or just wanting to maximize the appreciation of the unit, but also the end users, they prefer buying in this tower and actually living there. Central Park, it's also a pretty good area with a new lifestyle, plus solid investor-grade layouts. DIFC Heights is a new benchmark project, but it needs careful entry pricing, as resale potential is still being tested. Let's break them down with examples. First, if we speak about Index Tower, consistently one of the top traded buildings, 2 beds were recently sold at around 5.25 million, which is a 62% increase. Price, units are rented for around 230,000 dirhams to 310,000 dirhams. There is strong resale visibility, great for prestige, but not for first-time investors. And I would even argue not for investors looking for real fast growth at all. Secondly, the DIFC Heights, which is the new stock, commanding around 3,500 to 5,000 dirhams per square foot. This is clearly targeting ultra-prime buyers. 1 bed sold upwards of 4 million dirhams and 3 beds going for around 7 to 8 million plus dirhams. And finally, the Central Park Towers is a good balance for prestige and also for a general investment case. 1 bed resales at around 2.35 million dirhams, and while 2 beds are at around 5.2 million dirhams. And there is also high rental activity in the past 3 months to note. And if you want a pro tip, look for units with a unique layout or unique exposures such as the Burj Khalifa view, gate views, or corner units that are mostly preferred in this area. Now let's compare DIFC with my personal favorite area, Business Bay. I personally think this is quite an interesting comparison because they are located very close by. However, they present the investors completely two opposite scenarios. If we speak numbers, looking at the average price per square foot, in Business Bay we have 1,700 dirhams, while in DIFC it's 3,864 dirhams. 1 bedroom price in DIFC is at around 3.24 million dirhams, while in Business Bay the average is 1.5 million dirhams, but I would actually argue that if you're a cash buyer and want to get it quick, the liquidity is not great for the current owners there, and I talk about this from my own experience when I was selling my own apartments. So you're definitely going to benefit of better rates. While gross yields in the DIFC are at around 3.8 to 5%, on the other side in Business Bay you have at around 6.5 to 9% on a average case. The buyer profile in the DIFC is a long-term buyer that is looking for safety and stability, while in Business Bay this is mainly yield focused and just easier entry level. The DIFC is premium, high floor, and quiet wealth. Business Bay, on the other side, is flexible, Airbnb friendly, and very much ROI driven. That's why I personally chose Business Bay. However, if you have the right capital, if you want to preserve it right, and you want to play around with maybe higher budgets, then I think the DIFC is definitely there to stay. So my final verdict is that the DIFC isn't really overhyped. It's just not for everyone. It's mainly for people who care about prestige, location, and they have pretty good wealth comparing to other areas, and they just want to preserve it in a centrally located area and where the liquidity is probably better than in very expensive villas outside of the main prime areas. They want high quality resale assets, and they also think in 5 to 10 year horizons, not in 5 to 10 month flips. If that's you, then this is definitely one of the best areas in Dubai to buy into, and mostly that's also because there are not as many potential buyers there because the barrier to entry is really high. So definitely look into that. Also, if you want to buy in DIFC right now, let's talk. While I'm not an agent, I don't hold stock, and I'm not affiliated to any developer whatsoever. I have a finance background and I have an advisory company through which I offer one-to-one consulting calls, strategy breakdowns based on your budget and ROI expectations. Most importantly, the sourcing service, which is a fixed fee deal hunting, fully unbiased, and I'll find you exactly what you want and most probably under the price you tell me. And if you want to discuss your portfolio, then I do have advisory packages for that, where we will look through the whole buying process and I'll be there to advise you on all the matters from financial to the legal aspects. Link to all the services and the calendar are below, so book right now. I'll help you avoid the hype, see through the marketing, and lock a deal in DIFC or any other area that works for your portfolio and not for the ego. And with that, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.